Despite having never even fought each other or had an in-person encounter with one another, the rivalry between Conor McGregor and Jake Paul is truly one of the most bitter and talked about rivalries in all of combat sports. McGregor and Paul have been constantly butting heads on social media and in interviews ever since the problem child began his professional boxing career back in early 2020. The entire story of the rivalry between the two combat sports stars has essentially been Paul baiting the Irishman into any type of response. Whether through social media activity from McGregor, or him getting asked questions in interviews or at press conferences as he has done before. Paul's relentless pursuit of any type of recognition from the UFC star has sometimes worked and given him exactly what he has been looking for. Which is a bite, but most of the time, McGregor has just been minding his own business, and it has been the YouTuber who always seems to be the instigator. Today, Given Sport will take you through the 5 key moments in the rivalry between McGregor and Paul so far, including a big, money fight offer, social media skits, and a lot of personal jibes. On the 28th of November, 2020, Jake Paul competed in his second professional boxing match. The bout came on a huge card, being co-main event for Mike Tyson vs. Roy Jones Jr., and his opponent was former NBA star Nate Robinson. The problem child, as expected, was victorious in the fight, brutally knocking out Robinson in the second round, which was the basketball star's professional boxing debut. After securing a devastating KO win on the biggest stage of his career at that point, Paul, just weeks after the event, delivered his first official fight offer to Conor McGregor via a YouTube video. In the video, with an Irish flag draped over him and with a cigar and glass of whiskey in each hand, Paul slammed several brutal insults at the Irishman, attacking his wife particularly, then went on to offer him a chance to step in the ring with him. Despite Paul in the past going at McGregor on social media as he has done for years, this was the first official claimed fight offer from Paul to McGregor, who at the time was scheduled to face Dustin Poirier for the second time. As with most things the American says, his fight offer should have been taken with a pinch of salt, as it is highly unlikely an official offer was ever made between both parties, as McGregor was, and is still, firmly locked in his UFC contract. Whether or not the contract offer was legitimate or not, this is certainly the moment where a screw was turned in the Paul and McGregor rivalry and was absolutely turned up a notch when Jake Paul issued his first fight offer to Conor McGregor. The Irishman was coming up to his return to the UFC octagon after over a year out. In McGregor's highly anticipated octagon return, he was knocked out for the very first time in his career and the result shocked the world. Paul was very quick to react to the Irishman's first KO loss of his career and branded the result the worst loss in UFC history, and that seeing McGregor concussed on the UFC canvas tarnished his legacy. Fast forward 6 months in advance, McGregor was booked in a trilogy bout against Poirier and adopted a completely different approach to the second fight, bringing back the typical trash-talking superstar character despite employing an almost too respectful approach for their second fight. Despite not getting knocked out as he did in the second fight, the trilogy bout arguably ended even worse for McGregor. The Irishman suffered a horrible leg break at the end of the very first round, which led to the fight being stopped. Just 1 day after the fight, Paul posted the following to X, switching his fight offer to McGregor from a whopping $50 million to an offer of $23. After a long time of talk of nothing but a boxing match between Jake Paul and Conor McGregor, the rivalry took a very interesting turn. In January 2023, when it was officially announced that Paul had signed with MMA promotion, PFL, and was going to compete in MMA in the future. This announcement of the problem child venturing into the world of MMA not just added a very interesting and new dynamic to the Paul/McGregor rivalry with a potential MMA fight, a long shot but a possibility, and the Irishman also reacted to the news of his rival's involvement in the MMA space. In a very quickly deleted post to X, McGregor called Paul numbnuts and mocked his PFL deal due to the fact he will give a significant percentage of his earnings to other fighters on the roster who will get an opportunity to fight on his undercard. When he has spoken about the PFL and Paul's deal, particularly with the promotion, McGregor has never been complimentary and, in fact, in the past, has questioned where the promotion are getting their funds from to reportedly rival the UFC on fighter pay while being a significantly smaller company with nowhere near as much commercial income. The biggest conversation coming out of Paul's signing to PFL was that there was now a possibility of the problem child versus the Notorious in MMA. While this is a long shot, of course, due to Dana White's hatred of cross-promotion with Turkey Al-Sheikh on the scene in MMA and having links to both the UFC and PFL, he could work similar magic as he has done in boxing and get that fight made. In April 2020, to add to his litany of business ventures already, Conor McGregor became an owner of BKFC. The link this has to the rivalry between McGregor and Jake Paul is through Paul's most recent boxing opponent, former UFC and current BKFC fighter, Mike Perry. Perry vs. Paul happened 3 months after McGregor was announced as a BKFC owner and in the build-up to the fight. The Irishman was extremely supportive of Perry and was very much in his corner, backing him for the benefit of BKFC. McGregor's attitude towards Perry completely shifted, however, following the conclusion of the fight. Paul ended up finishing platinum in the 6th round after a dominant performance. And McGregor's support and goodwill towards him stopped, and instead, he claimed he fired him from the promotion he recently gained a level of control over. In a now deleted post to X, the Irishman said the following: "Hey Mike, you're released, and you can go and compete in your smelly dirty boxing championship thing. The smell of it, good luck. You're fired." Now that Conor McGregor has seemingly taken a step back from training for his MMA return following the cancellation of his bout against Michael Chandler, he seems to be on several side quests, including showing his face at Arsenal matches, boxing events, and also participating in live streams for his sponsors. Last week, during a live stream appearance for DuelBits, McGregor went off on multiple names in combat sports and, in particular, went in on the upcoming Paul vs. Mike Tyson fight, questioning how the fight was taking place in a stadium while getting an insult in on Paul in the process, saying, "I hope Mike rattles the little dope, no one gives a F about him. How is that even in the F Dallas Stadium?" In response to the Irishman's outburst, Paul posted the following skit on X directed at McGregor. With McGregor and Paul's rivalry having gone on for already over 4 years, there seems to be no signs of them stopping their feud soon, or having a fight, so this rivalry could go down as one of the biggest could-have-been fights of all time.